everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm back with a brand new speed build, this time doing a kind of Tudor style family home. So this is a 4-bed, 2-bathroom build set on a 40 by 30 lot in Glimmerbrook, although we're currently in Windenburg, and it comes in at just less than 159,000 simoleons. So initially, obviously, if you're going to do a Tudor house in The Sims, then Windenburg is your perfect world. I know. But unfortunately, for the likes of 40 by 30 lots, I like kind of building really wide houses as opposed to like short and narrow ones. So there's a real lack of sort of lots that are this size, and this particular lot in the daytime it's just got really rubbish lighting, so this is like afternoon and it looks like it's in the shade, and it just drives me mad when I'm building. And also when I come to do screenshots, I like you to like really be able to see in full brightness the build. So I was thinking, well, where else can I build this house? Because I didn't want to build over in Willow Creek because I've done quite a few builds over there recently. So I thought, well, let's just have a look around. So I ended up finding the 40 by 30 lot in Glimmerbrook, and it was just like the actual scenery was just perfect for the build, so I decided to go with that one. Now ideally in Glimmerbrook I'd have preferred to have done something a little bit more magical, a little bit like one of my previous builds, but I thought, well, you know, whatever. This is where it's going and that's that. So it's been the longest time since I've done a proper Tudor house, even though this isn't as, I don't know, Tudory as it can get. You know, it can get more Tudory, if that's even a word. But you know what I mean. So I just thought, well, I'll just have a play around and see what I can come up with. So I feel like this is a little bit more like a modern take on a Tudor house. I feel like these are the types of houses that you see over here in the UK, which are actually new builds, but they have the sort of Tudor style wallpaper, although it's not wallpaper in real life, but you know what I mean. So I'd say it was a little bit more like that, and obviously I've used a few modern style windows as well, and so it's a bit more of a modern take on a Tudor build. But I just wanted to build a really nice big family home. So I do love my big builds, and I've done quite a few little builds recently, so it's been nice to just get stuck into just a normal big family style home. So initially with the front of the house, I had this like front kind of chimney that ran up the middle of the house, and it kind of, the idea of it sort of felt alright, but I just thought it looked a bit rubbish, so I ended up deleting it and I put in a turret instead, and I'm glad I did that because the turret looks so much better. But everything in this house is great except for the fact that when I came to do like the upstairs of the build, well, I put a downstairs bathroom in one of the little turrets, so it was only really small and it didn't have a bathtub in it, because whenever I do sort of bathrooms in the turrets, I never actually put like a bath or a shower. It's normally just like a toilet, so you know, like a toilet and a sink. So when I came to do the upstairs of the build, I'd already done the floor plan and I was, you know, getting carried away. In fact, I tell you what, I was watching something on Netflix and I was that engrossed in that as I sort of went on autopilot as I was finishing. And then when I got to the very end of it, I was like, hang on a minute, where's the bathroom? So I totally forgot to sort of include a bathroom. So I ended up doing the upstairs turret as a bathroom. It got really fiddly. I had to mess around because I had to somehow, well, I either had to delete one of the bedrooms, which I didn't want to do because I felt like this house was that big, it needed 4 bedrooms. But it was either I'd delete a bedroom or I'd find a way to make a bathroom and a turret work. And I did. I made it work. And I had to play test it as well, because the last thing I'd want is to put it on the gallery for people to be like, I can't even have a bath. So I messed around with that for a bit, and yeah, so you won't see the bathrooms in this build, mainly because I fudged it up, but also because they're too small to film. Turrets are a nightmare to furnish just because they are just so small and the camera just bounces everywhere. So you might see them as I'm building, or you'll see the downstairs one, and it's fully functional as well. So I made sure that I put a bathtub in there, especially if you had children, you could go and bath them in there, although It's gone for your tight squeeze. So when I was coming up with the design for this house, I thought, I'm going to add this garage bit on. Now I know garages are a bit hit and miss. People either like them or they don't. But the thing is, I like building quite realistic houses, and you know, in this day and age, if you've got a massive house, the likelihood is you've got a garage as well. So I thought, I'll put this garage on. But then I thought, you know what? Whenever I build garages in my houses, I always, for some reason, put them on an angle. So I thought, we'll just do a normal one today. So that's what I did. And for the inside of this garage, I actually decided to make it into a little bit of a downstairs gym. So there's like, don't even ask me what the gym equipment is because I've not got a clue. But there is a running machine in there, there's a punch bag, and there's whatever you do with your arms in there as well. So there's quite a bit to do. But I thought I'll make it a bit more functional. I think in the last build I didn't even mention it either. Or I don't know if it was the last build. No, it wasn't. Well, one of my other builds, I ended up doing this like science lab, and I totally forgot to talk about it. So that'll be a bit of a surprise for anyone that downloads it. But I did like this full-blown science lab, and I didn't even include it in like me talking or in the actual video either. So yeah, whatever. But because it is quite a redundant room, a garage, because we haven't really got anything functional for those at the moment in The Sims 4, I just thought, you know what, I'll just add a gym in, that way you can use it and it's not just like for show, if you know what I mean. I like everything to be functional. Even like my gardens and things like that, I always put like activities and skills stuff like everywhere, just so your sim can like fully enjoy the full lot. Do you know what? I've redone this bit so many times. I don't know how people do a full kind of voiceover from start to finish, because the amount of times I get my words tangled up, it just wouldn't make sense. I'd probably have a better chance of doing a video in Simlish than I would in English. But anyway, so there's quite a lot of house with this particular lot. There's not a lot of garden, although there is. But I kind of utilised the space that I had and created like little sections going around the house. So we had a place where you could do all your gardening, do, you know, with your planters and stuff. And then we had a lawn area as well as a barbecue area. And it's all standard stuff really, but I just wanted to make sure that I could still kind of utilise the space around the house and make it sort of enjoyable for your sim. But I absolutely love Tudor houses, and I love them in real life as well. I think they're absolutely gorgeous. We've actually got one, I think it's called Chatsworth House, and it's where I used to live in Cheshire in the UK. And it's just, I remember going on a school trip when I was younger, and it was just absolutely massive, and it was really beautiful as well. I think the very, you know, like the proper Tudor houses are very old now, and they're very kind of big and cold, but they're very beautiful to look at. I wouldn't want to live in one, but they are beautiful to look at. Although saying that, when I went to see my mum last year, she took us for this meal, and we went to this, it was like a Tudor cottage, and it had this huge, like nothing I've ever seen before, thatched roof. It was absolutely massive. If I can find it, I'll have to like put a picture on somewhere, but it was absolutely gorgeous. And that was like this really fancy restaurant and wedding venue, but that was really nice because obviously it was done up inside and it was a lot more, they kind of kept the traditional features, but obviously all the furniture and everything was quite modern, but that was absolutely stunning. But I do absolutely love creating Tudor houses in The Sims just because there's that much choice. So many different wallpapers, so many different items. Obviously, you know, you tend to have a lot of blacks, whites, dark browns, them kind of tones with a Tudor build. And a lot of the items that you get in the game, in The Sims 4, are going to have swatches in those colours. So it's a lot easier to decorate and, you know, furnish like the outside of it and whatnot. So yeah, I love it. But just coming to the inside of the build, I decided to go a little bit more traditional in the sense of probably wallpapers and sort of dark tones. So I wouldn't say everything was traditional, although because there are elements of it being modern, but I did use a lot more wallpapers that I wouldn't ordinarily use with like the dark wooden panelling. But I was quite happy with the way that it turned out. I think normally when I do interiors, I tend to just do them just very, not modern, not traditional, just sort of normal. But with this one, I wanted to do something that felt a little bit more grand and almost like it would fit in Glimmerbrook as well. You know, like it's not. I mean, I think a Tudor house would fit really nice in Glimmerbrook, but I also think if you did have a Tudor house in Glimmerbrook, it'd be a lot more traditional on the inside. So, yeah, I kind of went with that theme in the end. So I hope you're all well and you're all having an amazing week so far, even though we're only on Tuesday. I have been busy building like a Trojan, and I've actually been watching all this stuff that you guys have recommended on Netflix, and I ended up watching something the other day called All the Bright Places. And it was a film. I actually thought it was a season, but it wasn't. It was a film. And I don't know if Netflix is just recommending me like real tearjerkers at the moment, but I was absolutely blabbing my eyes out. Like, I don't think I've cried so much as I have since I've been watching Netflix recently. But I do recommend it. It was a really good film, but it was just like, I didn't really read what it was about either, so I think that's what caught me off guard a bit. Because I got into it and I thought it was going to be a lot more light-hearted than what it actually was, but it was really good. It's just that I've just got to stop crying at stuff. So I've been working on some different builds as well. I actually deleted a couple of builds, which is such a waste, to be honest. I think I've still got them, well, I know I've still got them in my world, so I might upload them anyway to the gallery. But you know when you do a build and then you come to it the next day and you think, I'm really not sure about this one. So I kind of felt like that about, I think it's about 3 builds now, which I've not bothered to kind of make into a video or upload. So I'm not really sure what to do with them, but one of them was an apartment. There was nothing wrong with them. It's just that, you know, when you just feel like it's just not quite there. There's something missing. So I decided to leave them out and I've started on something completely different today. I'm actually doing, no, I'll spoil it if I say, but I'm doing something different and it's a bit refreshing actually. So I'm not sure whether to do any apartment builds. I know I've been asked to do some. I might do some actually. But I feel like I want to do something much brighter and much more vibrant, because a lot of the interiors I tend to do are quite neutral, because I go for a lot of sort of realistic looking houses, and I kind of feel like I do the interiors quite neutral a lot of the time. So I'm looking to do some more brightly coloured builds over the next sort of week or so. So I'm going to have a play around and see what I can come up with. So I'm actually working on the garage area now. So this was like the smallest gym that I built. There's not really a lot in here because it was only a small room, but there's enough in it to be a functioning gym and for your sim to do everything they need to do to work on their fitness skill. So that's what I did in this particular room. It was quite neutral really. I always like to put like a stone floor in the garage area. I don't know why. I just feel like it's a bit more realistic. In garages actually in the UK, it's always a concrete floor. I think that's pretty much the same everywhere in the world, but my dad actually had he ended up buying years and years ago a brand new house, and this particular house was the show home, and in their double garage they had an office, and that's where they did all their appointments and stuff from. And so when he bought it, it had like a carpet in the garage, and they asked him whether, you know, they said to him, you know, we're obviously going to remove all this, and he was like, actually, can I keep it in? So my dad actually had a carpet in his garage, which was just wrong. It's just weird, you know. So yeah, I always like to put like a bit of a stone floor in the garage area. But I'm just moving on upstairs now to the bedrooms, and I think this is where I was pretty much engrossed in whatever I was watching on Netflix and probably dabbing my eyes at the same time. So yeah, I just got carried away. I did all the bedrooms quite traditional as well, which is something I don't normally do. Like, I think even when I'm thinking about doing a traditional style house, whenever I get to the kids' rooms, I always think no, we've got to add in colour, we've got to add in, and so it just doesn't work. But with this one, it actually did work, and I decided to try and incorporate a bit of traditional with the kids' rooms. So you'll see what I mean anyway, but I was quite happy with the way it turned out. I really love the nursery. I thought the nursery was quite sweet, and that was quite neutral as well. So you could literally have a boy or a girl and it would just suit. This one was the boys' room. So upstairs we had the tiny bathroom in the turret. We had the master bedroom, which I've just done. This was like a boys style room. So you can see I'm still using like the curtains, like the kids' curtains, but I'm also using some traditional wallpapers as well. I also did like a bit more of a grown-up girls' room, which had a big double bed in it. And we had the little nursery as well at the end. So they're quite good sized bedrooms as well, I'd say. But I've actually been really tempted, Just recently, I've been flicking around. I've seen a few other fellow simmers who've been using some CC content. Now, I think I've seen Chrissy York, Little Simsy, I've seen Plum Bella, and somebody else using these kids' CC bunk beds, and I'm so tempted. In fact, I'm not tempted. I've already installed them. So what I was actually thinking was, I might actually do a build with CC, because a lot of the time I don't use CC at all, and I think because I don't have any CC at all in my game, I'm not tempted to use it because it's just not there. But once I start shopping, I'm like, oh, especially if you get me on Peacemaker's site, Peacemaker's CC is just absolutely phenomenal. So I had to find these bunk beds because I thought, even if I just use them in my gameplay, in my Let's Play, then that'd be brilliant. But why have the Sims not brought out bunk beds yet? I just think they need to do it. It just needs to be done, especially now we've got these tiny homes as well. Like, we need all the space we can get. So bunk beds should be well in the game at this point, without a doubt. But you'll have to let me know in the comments whether you'd be interested in seeing me use CC. See, I never do, just because it's easier to upload the build to the gallery. So if you'd rather I didn't, then just let me know in the comments. But I do love CC, and I can get carried away with it once it's in my game. So, I don't want to go all out with my builds being CC, but I just think it just makes a nice change, doesn't it? But I really hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please give me a big thumbs up. And if you're not subscribed, it would be amazing to have you on board. This will be available to download from the Sims 4 gallery under Origin ID Simkin Builds. So take care, everyone, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!